purports to show Syrian forces making arrests in the suburb of Damascus.
Imagine suddenly vanishing off the face of the earth, spirited away by agents of the state, being held incommunicado for years, with no one knowing for sure why you were taken, who took you, or what's become of you. That's what's happened to Mohamed Bachir Arab, who disappeared on the 2nd of November 2011.
He always puts the country, Syria, even before his own safety.
And to Ali Mahmoud Othman, who disappeared in March 2012.
He was gentle, quiet. Anything he could do to help, he would help.
Both are believed to have been abducted by Syrian intelligence and are now incarcerated in one of the regime's notorious torture and detention centres. And there are more than 25 of them, scattered around the country, some shrouded in secrecy. It's rare for a former disappeared to talk publicly about their experiences, if fortunate enough to return.
We were about 50 persons in a cell that was 3 by 4 meters. Because of the crowdedness, the diseases and the infections were transmitted from one to the other. We are not supposed to utter any word. Once they hear any voice coming from the cell, the detainee, he gets beaten until his hands swells, get yellow, and he starts beating them on the legs. I still have my scars on my legs. For my family, it was 5 months not knowing absolutely any idea about where I was.
No one knows the true number of the victims of enforced disappearance in Syria, but it runs into thousands. And those numbers will have been considerably swollen with the clampdown on all who oppose the rule of President Bashar al-Assad. Ali Mahmoud Othman, a citizen journalist, was one. Part of a network of activists who ran the makeshift Homs media centre. It assisted foreign broadcasters and journalists in getting their stories out when the Syrian army bombarded the Baba Amra neighbourhood of the city. One of those Ali helped was Paul Conroy, who was injured in the shelling.
Well, we finally got into Homs last night. It was quiet during the evening, but this morning about 7 a.m. the shelling started, and it's been pretty continual ever since.
Whenever we go into these countries, you know, we certainly the case with Syria, we would never be able to operate to survive without these people on the ground. Ali was one of them people. He was gentle, quiet. He had, you know, no history of military. He helped get the media into the country and get the message out to the world.
Ali was arrested after being lured to a meeting with government forces. We understand he was originally taken to the military intelligence branch in Al-Bab in Aleppo, before being transferred to the Palestine branch detention centre in Damascus.
Regimes like this, their biggest fear is actually information, not bombs and bullets. They know what to do when faced with people with bombs and bullets. What they don't like is when they lose control of information.
Shortly after he disappeared, Ali reappeared on state television. It was claimed that he'd been arrested for cooperating with external powers plotting against Syria. It's the last time he's been seen. Dr. Mohamed Bachir Arab may have been disappeared for helping to organise peaceful protests in his hometown of Aleppo. But no one knows for certain. He just vanished.
There is a common say in Syrian slang, you know, there is bread and salt between us. When we were in the school, he was really this sort of charismatic, popular guys. He was well known, like, if you need help, go and speak to Mohammed. You see, so he always sensed that, oh, those guys are suffering and I have to say something for that. He's like encapsulating the civil, secular, peaceful way forward.
Released detainees claim to have seen him in a military hospital in Aleppo, and there have been further reported sightings in 3 other detention centres in Damascus.
In Syria, for every 10 friends you have 100 enemies. That is to say that the Syrian regime's security services were just had tentacles in every pocket of society.
I think it's not about getting information. I don't think that it's about protecting themselves even. I think it's about humiliating. It's about dehumanizing them.
With reports of widespread, systematic torture or other ill treatment and thousands of deaths in custody, the families and friends of all of Syria's disappeared continue to live in anguish, fearing every day for their loved ones' safety and hoping for their return.
It's some of the worst forms of human abuse I've ever seen. People go in, people don't come out. It's impossible for people to find out where people are being kept.